Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second series of the broadcast, but I guess the third one of the day. We do apologize. We do apologize here. For those who are curious, we were scheduled to go live right now, actually. To go live right now, that's when we assumed the event would be beginning, but it actually began 2 hours earlier. They rescheduled. RSL did reschedule, so because of that, we did miss out on half of the broadcast, essentially. Thankfully, we were able to catch the tail end of a Classic versus Rainer, the very last game, but we missed out on Hero versus Zound, and we missed out on the majority of Classic versus Rainer. So don't apologize, don't apologize. We just weren't aware that they did change their schedule. And at least now we're here for the next two matches. So next two best of fives, here we go. As you can see here, we have Hero and Rainer. They have advanced on to face off against each other in the next round, and we have Maru versus SHIN about to begin. We still have two series left. It's going to be Maru versus SHIN and Max Pax versus Trigger. Here we go, a TvZ and a PvP back to back. Oh,
internationally that we accommodated by moving our schedule around. So this is actually the same amount of RSL content that you would typically get in a season. It's just this week, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing double days. It's a lot of series. We're starting earlier as a result, 4:30 p.m. KST.
Now they're putting it out,
7 p.m. KST. So if you're watching live, make sure you get a little bit of caffeine, get nice and comfortable, because it's going to be a marathon. If you're watching online, oh, you can just click the next VOD. It'll be nice and easy, as we want to thank, of course, our official.
I love how they're like, oh, you know, because the international event, they're specifically referring to the Chinese event that was going to be going on, by the way, which is no longer occurring. It is rescheduled, so it's a little bit unfortunate that they had to try to work around it.
Still unwrapped, but
oh, they do have the Zero Tool figure. Let's go. But I love how they're like, oh, it's, you know, now we're doubling up, you know, back to back. It's gonna be a marathon. Mate, they're casting 4 best of 5s. That's like a standard casting day. Like, but to be fair, like RSL, they're used to having like 2-hour days. Like they usually cast like 2 hours and they're done. So now they have to cast like 4 hours, which is like more of a commitment. Which is a standard casting day, but it's fine. It's fine. SMH my head.
Let's hop back in there on the
SMH. For now though, again, if you want to support the event, Patreon, !RSL in the chat. It's a link to their Patreon page to help support the event. Otherwise, we'll soon be getting into Maru versus SHIN. Now, this is where I wish I was able to cover and tune into the group stage of RSL. Maru, he was able to showcase his TvZ and he beat Rainer in the group stage. I would love to know what happened in those matches. If you're in the chat, if you're watching the group stage of RSL, I would love to know what occurred, because Maru has been very lackluster in 2025. He's been very predictable. I would say that's maybe the best way to put Maru is just very predictable in all of his play, and specifically except for TvT. I think his strongest matchup is TvT. But especially in his turn versus Zerg, especially for the majority of this year, we'd see either non-stop all-ins with Araxes or non-stop mech. But of course, in the latest patch, mech is now weaker, right? Mech is less viable than it once was, and Araxes are also less viable as well. So with Araxes now being weaker, with mech being weaker, and with Turtle Heavy Play being weaker as well because of the new map pool, I would say that all these typical playstyles that Maru has been showcasing throughout the course of the year are now far weaker in the TvZ matchup. So for him to have defeated Rainer in the group stage, to me, is very surprising, and I would love to know how he's adjusted in this matchup, and we're about to see it here as well. Again, I would have loved to have seen how he played against Rainer previously. I think this was like last week, so we're going to be getting a better glimpse of that here against SHIN. Maru was incredibly greedy and unpredictable. That's an interesting way of putting it, but okay. I mean, I'll take your word for it. I know that Macrocosm is a big Maru fan, so I'm sure he was watching those games. I'm sure he'd also echo my sentiments about Maru, about his predictability so far throughout the majority of the year, and the styles that he's been reliant on for the majority of the year as well. So I'm happy to hear that finally kind of like that mold is being broken, and he's going to be adjusting coming into the new season and the new map pool as well. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Vita's done. It's going to be a best of 5. Game 1 is on Botanical. Game 2, Tokamak. Game 3, Winter Madness. Game 4, Magnetic North. And Game 5 is going to be on Persephone. Bearing in mind as well that this is going to be a custom map pool. This is not the regular ladder map pool that we have. This is a amalgamation of them. Regular ladder map pool, some TLMC 21 maps, and some older previous season maps as well. Personally, I'm not fond of the idea of them using those older maps, but here we go.
Skill. He brings some very unorthodox styles sometimes. He's very aggressive with his play. But still, 27-0.
27-0, that's a lot.
It's a wild stat. I actually can't think of any.
Go win or introing?
Of course, it's going to be hard to because this is 10+ years.
In the bottom right hand corner of Botanical, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran for Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in top left hand corner, we have for Weibo Gaming, the South Korean Zerg player. It is SHIN. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series best of. Oh, my apologies. Sorry, I have to open up the thingy first.
Turn off your head and just keep doing it like okay.
There we.
It's not gonna happen.
There we go. There you go. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our best of 5. Let's go.
CBT has always been one of his specialties. So
yeah.
There's definitely potential here.
He was one of the players that was kind of pioneering that really fast
style. So far we have 2 ranks Reaper here out of Maru. They're kind of alluding to it, but yes, Maru, he's one of the players that did popularize 2 ranks Reaper with Beyond. This was like 2 years ago now at DreamHack. Was it Dallas or Atlanta? But it was the DreamHack that was like in November, December at the end of the year. Like 2 years ago at this point, did pioneer this alongside Beyond. So now we're going back to it here. Also, welcome to Botanical. Botanical is one of the more unorthodox TLMC 21 maps. Here we're going to be opening up 2x Reaper. Sorry, my apologies, 2x Marine. This is an opener that Future was playing around with a lot, actually. This does typically it leads into a stronger stim timing. Okay.
By the way, really interesting build coming in here from Maru. We had the 2 barracks on the low ground, and I was expecting this to be...
Yeah, they're just pointing it out now. So again, going for the initial 2x Marine production, this can lead one of 2 ways. Either into a 2-1-1 with a factory into Starport into stim timing with Medivacs, or it can lead into a 3-rax or a 4-rax. We have seen that from Beyond. So if you've been watching Beyond over the past year, he has incorporated and mixed in these builds before.
Hunting now this Overlord. It has a lot of area to play with here on the high ground, but with the barracks coming in... Is this gonna work? Those 4-lings, they might get some good damage done.
True, we have seen 2 ranks into mech before, but I want to say it was 2 ranks Reaper into mech. But we have seen that in the past, like in the past couple of months. But that was, of course, when mech was more viable before the nerf, right? So I should also, add that like asterisk there, which is also why I'm not really expecting much mech out of Maru in this series. But I also didn't really expect him to play mech against Raynor, and we're maybe seeing. I don't know if that occurred.
Just hoping to buy some time for the Overlord, but it's not enough, and ends up losing, I believe, 3 links on top of the Overlord as well. So kind of a disastrous start here for SHIN. Not the way you want to go into best of 5 when you're.
Oh, big scout, not bad. Yeah, links they pick in.
Just in time there for Maru as well, and we have what 5 Marines. Moving out on SHIN's side of the map, the 3rd command center going down before the 3rd.
So what's really important here is that what did SHIN see? He saw the factory. So he knows it's not a 3-rax, right? He knows that there's no like 3-rax follow-up or 4-rax follow-up. He knows it's going to be a 2-1-1 variation. Whether it's a starport before or after the CC, that he doesn't know. We know that it's a 3rd command center before the starport, but SHIN is still in the dark as to that fact.
Yeah, look at that.
Lair first. Very fast Lair.
Speed. This is Lair first coming in from SHIN. It almost feels like a Brood War build or something. It is so quick.
Yeah, this was there was a short period of time, like I want to say like 5-6 years ago, where like 2 base builds made a splash.
Yeah, so rushing to fast like this, it could be a couple of different things. If there was no Roach Warren, I would assume Mutaplay, but with Roaches as well, this might even be a commitment into Roach speed, into an early Roach timing. So our eyes are definitely going to be on SHIN here in regards to how he makes use of this fast layer. This was like a, what, 330 layer timing?
So it kind of ends up in like the ideal scenario to deal with any sort of...
Second factory, it's mech. Okay, again, we said this before, that we have seen 2 racks into mech in the past from Beyond and from Maru, but I wasn't really expecting it because of the weakness, because of the, I would say, just the less viability of mech nowadays in the latest patch. But no, Maru, he's going for it. I'm really curious to see how well this works.
Adding in what I think is the 3rd factory.
Yep, 3rd factory.
So Maru looks like he went. He's going mech, it looks like, but there's 2 barracks with tech legs on them. It's a very interesting looking build order, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't quite know what to make of the 2 tech labs on the barracks.
Yeah, like
it's meant to be fake out.
Where like, okay, I'm gonna make it tricky and playing bio, but
yeah, like they're like State is a little bit confused as to why there was a tech lab. It's the fake out. It's to make it look like he's playing bio when he's not.
We will have to wait and see. So obviously,
and we're going into battle mech. Okay.
Which is kind of the standard with mech openers these days a lot of the time. And we'll have to wait and see like how many cyclones he actually makes, right? Because that's usually the big deviations. If they go like 3 cyclones into tank, in this case it's only the single cyclone into tanks already.
Okay, this makes more sense.
Going into this mech style, we'll see what he opts to do with it.
double armory.
Double armor coming in means that he's probably going to be playing pretty defensively.
Yep.
Initially, at least.
Yeah, I think these siege tanks are going to be a useful tool here versus.
Just echoing what sort of just kind of explained here, what we're seeing, and if you recall, I was like, oh, okay, like we see this a lot, like going 2-Rex into Battle Mech, because Battle Mech was nerfed in latest patch. This is not 2-Rex into Battle Mech, it's 2-Rex into traditional mech, Hellion tank, no Cyclones, or I should say, I think only 1 or 2 Cyclones are made just for early game defense, and we're building up a heavy tank count instead. This is how mech has evolved in the latest patch.
I wonder if seeing the fast roach horn and seeing roach speed being researched kind of prompted Maru to go to these tanks rather than the Cyclones.
Oh my god, the droids, they're lining up now! They line up! Oh my god!
Man, that's an entire mineral line of drones going down. 16 drones. The early defense was looking so good for SHIN. Wow, what a trade there for Maru.
Yeah, I feel like one of those situations like, okay, you did good in the initial defense, you're like, okay, I'm good here, and then you just kind of relax, and then you end up just going back to mine a little bit too soon and clump up a little bit too soon, and then...
So I was going to be favoring SHIN coming into this because he was blindly investing into heavy roaches, but now suddenly losing 16 drones, that's a brutal start, right? That's a very brutal start here. Now SHIN is behind economically, he has to redrone, resaturate, but we can see that SHIN isn't redroning. Look at his worker count, 61. He's cutting workers early, that is under 3-base saturation. He's getting into tunneling claws, he's building up more roaches, and he looks like he wants to commit into the third.
Necessary, and I like the addition of tunneling claws as well with the 1/1 upgrades, or I guess, oh, he canceled +1 carapace, did he? Just going straight into range. I guess that does make sense here versus mech. That armor is not really going to pay.
Yeah, SHIN
dividends versus the high.
Basically, he's all in. I don't think the casters have like actually realized yet, but this is an all in. That's why SHIN, after losing the drones, didn't replace them. So Nidus Storm is on the way, and it's all or nothing.
If he can circumvent the frontline defense here for Maru, I feel like SHIN can get a lot done.
Yeah, but because there's no 4th hatch behind us, he actually like needs to get a lot done, right? Like
yeah, now they're realizing. Like now they're just touching on like, hold on, there's no 4th. Like, of course there isn't.
Go back and drop. Comes in here. Good bias.
Gets one tank.
Gets
2.
Second tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Roach Ravager, it's working for now. He's stutter stepping forward, but this choke point makes it really hard with the splash damage coming in. Maybe SHIN didn't anticipate so many more siege tanks on that back line as Maru is now creeping them forward. Again, you have to be really careful here as Terran because of the risk of bile. And look at that, the Nidus Canal is going down. Maru does see it. Is it going to finish, though? It's already about 75% done. I think the Cyclone will get it just in time.
I will finish. He's getting his auto. The scan! Oh my god! He's scared.
The Nidus actually survives.
He saves it.
No!
The Nidus.
On top of it. SHIN now pushing into the main base.
He's crazy.
Infernal pre-igniter.
It's still alive. Where are the reinforcements?
The Bio and the Hellbats, they have to pivot back into the main base. This might leave the third exposed.
And look at how low that Nidus is. It was one shot away from going down.
So he is setting up to be able to just pull out of this position and go back into the third, right? Because Maru has rotated a lot of his army around into the main base here to actually deal with this. But so far, Maru is being very slow and patient with this, so SHIN is also taking his time to actually back out of this position, right?
Yeah, and Maru's also
the contamination.
A lot of SCVs, so I think he's going to be all right.
Roaches are committing in. He's trying to get on top of the tanks. He'll get one.
So he's down to 56.
Just one, though. Yeah, just one.
More of these roaches and Ravagers. If he can stabilize in the main base, I think that he should be okay because he's just so oversaturated right now with the 2 bases.
Well, remember, like SHIN has not been droning. Like SHIN, he went from 61 to 69, so he's made a couple of extra workers.
Tunneling forward again,
tunneling into turrets.
SHIN really trying to push it right now.
Yeah, he's getting a new hatchery behind this.
Messy by SHIN.
So he's thinking about the transition, which is probably a good thing because like once the tank count is still like it's still this high after attack going on for so long. Kind of gets really hard to actually kill your opponent.
Oof. Yeah, tank on the high ground as well, forcing friendly fire.
I love
a lot of friendly fire. Oh my god!
On top of the SCVs,
21 SCVs.
I feel like a lot of the SCVs that fell there, it wasn't just the roach damage, it was also the siege tanks doing all of that splash. So really clever move coming in by SHIN.
It was 8.
He has, what, 25 more workers now than his opponent, but it's dangerous here for Maru. SHIN, he's been playing this on a relatively low drone count. He has gotten a couple more in, but the 4th base...
So what they're trying to get at here, as a reminder, again, SHIN was all in with this, and he has dealt crippling damage. True, right? He was able to disrupt the production, cripple the economy, trade against the Hellions, trade against the Roaches, and now he's running back home. Now, SHIN still needs time to stabilize his own economy because he was all in, so he has a lot of droning to do. SHIN, he's now breaking out of a supply block as well, taking another 4th base. So SHIN is not in the best position, but he is far enough ahead. Right now, Maru's desperate for damage, and you can see him going for Hellion run-bys. He needs to get some counter damage done, but so far he doesn't find anything.
first, catch up on economy, catch up in tech. Oh, and the Swarm host.
I thought it was going to be a high, but it's actually going to be 10 Swarm hosts coming in here for SHIN.
Against,
and Maru,
specifically against traditional mech. Remember, like battle mech is less viable. Battle mech is going to be seen less often in the new meta, in the new season. So going to Swarm host is much more viable against Hellion tank. 100%.
Trying to cover all the bases, right?
Much more
limited
viable.
Map vision and map control, and you can't really scan for everything in a situation like this, right? So he's just trying to cover his bases. And I like the Swarm host in theory here, because Maru is very set back, and getting Swarm hosts across the map, you already have the Niders as well, you can get the Swarm hosts across the map, you can start trading. The problem is the upgrades, with like, there's 2-2, and ideally with Swarm hosts you want to hit early, you want to start trading early. With the upgrades coming in, it's going to get harder and harder to actually find any value with these.
I think the natural mineral line is looking really exposed. Like, sort of, he's expressing his concerns that damage will be done at all because of the upgrade disadvantage. But looking at the natural base, it looks like there is an opportunity there for the Swarmers. Yeah, and they're going straight for the natural.
We don't have very many Hellions or Hellbats added in. We don't have a lot of Cyclones added in either. Yes, the 2-2 upgrades are coming.
Thors are amassing.
This is going to be a little bit of a
Locust save into the natural.
It feels like the most mobile part of Maru's force right now is these.
We'll get the tank, we'll get into the middle, and SCVs will go down. Nice damage. Again, this is what we mentioned.
For SHIN. Also getting out the Droches.
He gets an armory as well. I think, yeah, plus that was the +2 vehicle weapons armory. Luckily for Maru, that is already completed, so he's not getting an upgrade denied just yet. We'll see how long it takes him to throw down the second armory. Honestly, at this point with 2-2 already done, you might just want to wait right now as Maru and instead invest that resource into trying.
And again, SHIN, he's maxed. He's maxed out, so this aggression continues, and it's okay for SHIN to trade in efficiently.
I don't think I've seen a Stargate unit just yet. I think this is the first starport now coming in.
Yeah, so the thing here that's going to be the trick here is Maru obviously just wants to max out, and once he maxes out, SHIN has his army with a massive amount of Swarm hosts, so it's going to get harder and harder to find value, and eventually you will have to deal with Maru's army.
Oh, the friendly fire! Oh my god, 7 SCVs,
And
Jesus.
on the other side, maybe pick up some tanks here. So
Tanks are exposed, only 2 tanks, there's no Hellbats.
Get back into the lead in this game.
I mean, we're already at 12 minutes and Maru is still struggling to secure a 4th
And again,
base.
Maru, he should not be able to expand and get a 4th base. Like, you can see how hard it is. He has to fight for a 4th. This is all that SHIN has to do. Maintain map control and apply as much pressure as he can, not to kill Maru, but to contain.
It's actually the natural that's the only base with 16 out of 16 remaining right there, the full 8 mineral patches. Honestly, for SHIN, even if he can't break Maru right now, as long as he can continue to deny the 4th base.
Yeah, stay out there.
Maru's just going to run out of money. You can see that right now at the
Like
bottom of the screen.
that's the win condition, just deny. Deny the base.
It's pretty low here for Terran.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think what actually like turned the things around for SHIN with this attack was the last Roach run by into the 3rd, right, where he killed like 12 SCVs or something. I think that really set up this entire follow-up to be successful.
Can he get a Thor? Oh, gets a tank, and oh, doesn't quite get the Thor.
It's like Maru's supply
How's
is
it
not
connecting?
really moving, and SHIN is just constantly staying maxed out, getting a pickoff here with every Locust wave. If he can keep this and you slowly take the map on his side, keep Maru locked in on 3 bases, Maru will run out of money eventually.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think SHIN needs to drone up more from here. I think you just stay at 67, 68, you add another hatchery, he just throws it down at 9 o'clock right now, and you just keep saturating as your minerals mine out, because Maru, his income is not getting better until the 4th base is up. It doesn't matter if he makes more SCVs or not, he is fully saturated already. And
what they're getting at, technically there is a way for Maru to recover in this game, but he has to turtle and max out on 3 bases and slowly get a 4th. It's just so difficult to achieve that with these Locust waves. As you can see, time and time again, they're going in, they deny +3, another armory goes down, the second armory falling, and Maru just cannot build up his army. He's trying, and he slowly is. He goes from 120 to now 160 supply, so he's slowly building up his army supply, but it takes a long time for this to happen, and SHIN is still trading and picking off units here and there.
Factories, like, command centers to actually take a 4th. He has a very limited number of minerals to work with.
Yeah, luckily for Maru, SHIN doesn't have a lot invested into anti-air here on the front line. So Liberators, although they can be dealt with by Ravagers, he doesn't have a, SHIN I should say, doesn't have a lot of answers to this roaming squad of Medivacs.
Locust save comes in, might get something, maybe? A Thor?
Nah, not even. Over here. A lot of splash damage being done. Keep in mind also,
that's concerning.
Not free here for Terran. There's a lot of mech units that need to get.
So 2 things just happened. The last 2 Locust waves weren't worth it. Like, the last 2 Locust waves have not gotten damage done, and now Maru's getting his 4th. His 4th base is getting up. This is now dangerous for SHIN. Yes, SHIN has done an amazing job at containing Maru this entire time, up until this point, where if Maru, unironically, if he can get that 4th base up running, he can max. And if he can max out, he can win a fight. And if he can win a fight, he can still win the game. So there's still a chance here for Maru to recover. The pressure is still heavily on SHIN to deny the base, deny some of these expansions. He can't just let this get up and running.
All of the money as soon as he maxes out, even if it's for a couple throwaway lings against a composition that doesn't have a lot of Hellbats. That could add a lot of value here for the Zerg.
Gets one tank. Gets a Cyclone.
Cyclones, a Siege tank, and I think even a Hellbat getting taken down there. These waves of Locust
That
are
was
just getting
that
so
was
much
better.
fun. Maru feels like, even though he secured this 4th base, he is still up against the ropes. His supply is incrementally getting closer and closer to being maxed, but it's been a tough road here for Maru so far.
Yeah, like he's trying to get some cyclones on the map now just to like get some pressure.
So like they're talking about it as well. They're like, hey, like Maru, his supply is getting larger. Like it is getting larger. Now he snipes an expansion as well. Nice pick off. The concerning thing here for SHIN is that SHIN, he's had map control for quite some time. What has he done with that map control? He's teching, but where's the creep, right? There's no creep spread. There's no vision. As a result, these Cyclones, they get 2 expansion kills. Very nice damage here by Maru. He snipes 2 hatcheries. And as you mentioned, like Maru, he's almost there. He's almost maxed out. He's even trading well here against the Ravagers. Ooh, does finally get abducted.
The mech player is mining more than you.
But this is getting a little bit scary for SHIN.
I'm actually wondering about the cost efficiency. Can we get a shot of the units lost tab real quick? Because it feels like, I was going to say, so much has been done here.
Like, SHIN still has a lead, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been able to really extend that lead as much as he otherwise would have liked. With creep spread, with more bases, with map control, with a greater economy. He does have a bank to work with, that is true, but again, as we mentioned, Maru got his 4th.
But SHIN has been trading very well, almost even so far here in the units lost tab. More upgrades now coming through. And it doesn't even feel like SHIN has much of a bottleneck in terms of the bank. He has a lot of gas. It's not just minerals in the bank here for SHIN. But eventually he's going to have to pivot out of the Swarm Host if he wants an army that can go toe-to-toe with what Maru has.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Swarm Host, right?
He's going into the tank line. Here comes some lightning clouds. He gets 1. Just 1. Yeah, just 1 blinding cloud. Bios Connect gets 1 tank, gets 1 Thor.
A lot of really injured units here for Maru, but with some hot pickup micro there on the Medivacs, able to stay mostly efficient as Maru is now finally getting close to being max. And the creep spread here for SHIN, he wasn't all in, but I think his attention has been so focused on the front line that he hasn't really developed these bases.
As in, he hasn't been all in recently, but he was all in initially. That's why the creep is so small. That's why the queens have the queen count was so low. But this is on SHIN, the fact that he didn't find the time to spread creep, because the creep has barely been out on the map.
Acting like drones in a sense where they're generating value for him, right? Like he's killing stuff for free over and over. But eventually, again, we're getting closer and closer to max out here for Maru. These Locusts are getting less and less value every wave. And it's almost like becoming more and more of a liability as the game goes on. They have to keep generating value to justify their supply, right? As they...
And this is it. Like Maru, he's maxed. Like again, SHIN, did he do enough damage? Did he get enough of a lead up until this point? Maru, he finally got his 4th base. He finally maxed out. He's getting a 5th, and Maru has a better army. Straight up, he has a superior composition now, and SHIN might just die. he might just topple over here.
And so this push out into
SHIN's army is not built to fight; it's built to harass.
Basically, is catching him very off guard, and Maru, he recognizes the situation. He knows this is almost like a pseudo-base trade. He's just going to sacrifice here the Planetary Fortress. Instead, he's going to go for the most crucial mining bases here for the Zerg. Taking down that triangle expansion as well as the 9 o'clock base. SHIN, he's expanding down into the bottom
SHIN is going for the base trade.
Into this 3rd, but
he gets the 4th.
So many siege tanks in position here for SHIN, and the Locust, they're still
There's going to be a defensive Locust wave.
Oh no, the Ravagers! Oh no, every single Roach and Ravager nearly getting taken out there on the front line.
Yeah, he's falling apart. SHIN, he's falling apart.
This is very problematic, because a big thing you're fighting when you're fighting against mech is to fight them to just for space on the map, right? Whereas if the tanks actually get to siege up there in the middle of the rallies, it's extremely difficult to take an efficient fight into this.
Yeah, SHIN is very supply blocked right now.
That's just game.
A couple of just finished 11
Again, like SHIN could never fight this army head on. He failed to contain. We have 7 ultras on the way. Okay.
And already the Hive is under siege. And Ultralisk is popping out a lot more here in production. Imagine if every single one of these was about to finish. It could be huge here for SHIN. Instead, the Hive is gonna get focused.
No, we gotta fight. We gotta go.
They pop, but they don't have a lot of reinforcements. So SHIN, he's not engaging just yet. And it feels like Maru's getting
these are +1 carapace ultras.
Yeah, SHIN kind of needs to clean this up. If he can clean this up,
very nice lightning clouds.
But he kind of needs to do it very efficiently, because...
where's the Locust wave? Where is it? There it is! Send it, Pappy! Send the Locust wave!
Yeah, the Thors are going to stay alive.
Oh, the Ultras went down. Locusts are too late. Yeah, it's too late.
This is 3-3 mech going up against 1-1 Ultras. 10 more Ultras are underway, so there should be a big swing back in SHIN's side.
Barely holds on.
A lone Hellbat, by the way, took out almost all of the drones mining from that bottom left base.
Just barely. And Maru still has his 4th, the center base, and now 5th.
really thin on both sides right now. Maru, it looks like he might have actually just landed his command center here at the 6 o'clock space. So
Maru, he has a better economy. He has a superior economy. He has the large. He's building up the larger army as well. He's a nice bottom left.
Siege tanks in third, dropping to snipe the hatchery. Don't see that every day, but it's been a very spicy one here to start off SHIN versus Maru.
Yeah, so this current position right now is kind of opposite again, where SHIN has a pretty big army, but he has a very low income now.
Oh, nice around.
I would probably favor SHIN's army like ahead of engagement right now. But as time goes on, I think Maru's army is actually going to become better and better the closer he gets to max out again. I'm not a huge fan of the switch back into Cyclones versus the Ultras, but if you can get back some map control and start kiting them, it can definitely be effective still.
The lack of anti-air is just so
I don't know if I agree with what Sort of just said. He just mentioned that he favors SHIN in a head-on fight. I don't think I agree with that, just because of how low the upgrades are for the Ultras. Ooh, there's the Hellions get behind the mineral line. The Ultras can't do them. They can't touch. The Ultras, they can't engage. They're too thick.
Finish cleaning it up.
No, he
He's
couldn't.
just now turning around with like 1 Ravager. 23 drones have fallen. Make it 25. Only 2 drones remain in the oversaturated top right base there for SHIN. He's down to 41 workers now. He's starting
The
to
Ultras are too
redrone. We
thick.
see them in production time.
You're
And look at the infestors too. They get caught. They get scanned.
Okay, this is the last fight for SHIN.
Yeah, this is it. He kind of pushed into all these tanks.
PF, it's just so much meat to actually shoot through.
The repair on the planetary fortress and just
As I mentioned, this is why I disagree with what Sort of said, how in a head-on fight he favored SHIN, like no shot. Like in a head-on fight, Maru's armies is crazy. Catching out more infestors, and with that SHIN has nothing left.
of this game. Finally now, he has completely turned it on its head. SHIN has almost no mining. The gas bank is depleted. The mineral bank is depleted. Finally, Maru has an income advantage again. And he's pushing a win. There's only a couple Ultras left here. What a game one.
Yeah, crazy game. Like this started out so weird with the openers. With the
GG.
two-racks opener,
GG.
Whew, what a game.
Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations here, Maru. He will take a lead in the series. He will take game number 1. Now, there's a lot to get into in regards to that game. We did try to explain it during the course of the game itself, but you can see the momentum. You can see the game shift visibly in favor of Maru once he got the 4th base. Once he got that 4th base up running. Now, a couple things need to happen here. If the Terran player, if the meching player gets a 4th base, it doesn't matter if they're down 80 supply. And he was down 80 supply. It doesn't matter. You can max out. Once you get a 4th base, you will max out. Once that happened, once SHIN realized that he stopped doing damage with his swarm host, if you remember, when there were 2 things that happened. The 4th base was taken, and there were like 2 or 3 locust waves from SHIN that failed to really get any damage done. They were getting like 1 tank at a time, sort of thing. Once that started occurring, SHIN needed to start to switch into Broodlord or into Ultras, into whatever he wanted, whether it was going to be Ultras or Broodlords. He needed to start switching and taking out of Roach Ravager Swarm Hosts, because the reality is that he had failed to contain, he had failed to keep the Terran player on a low base count, he failed to stop Maru from maxing out, and it was inevitable that would happen, that Maru would max out and push across the map with the terrifying army. So he had to get ready for that kind of inevitability, right? He had to get ready for that kind of game state, but he was stuck on Swarmhost Roach Ravager, which is, again, as we try to mention, it's a harassing army. It's not an army built to fight. It's not an army built to engage. He, in the end, failed to transition out of that harassing army. GG. GG.
And yeah, going back to the point that you made about this being an all-in mentality, it still kind of felt like the smart move for a long time. We were talking about this, where if Maru is not able to secure a 5th base, and then suddenly
4th.
SHIN is just in a winning position, because Maru's economy. I said Char. Maru's economy is, that's their Archon name if they ever play in Archon mode. Maru's economy wasn't getting any bigger. He was sitting on 4 bases. He was slowly mining out. Everything was oversaturated. It was or 3 bases actually. It was a very, very grim situation there for Maru, and I feel like the real big pendulum switch for Maru, where things started going in his way, was when he had just this sigh of relief as the 4th base was finally secured.
Yeah,
He had been able to work his way up.
They got there in the end, but as we mentioned, right, like it was all about that 4th base, and they got there. The cash
But he
designing.
was able to have enough army supply that he could finally deal with the locust waves securely enough that he could take a 4th base. And then once he saturates that 4th base, as you said, SHIN, up until that point, he was just kind of playing this game where he's trying to keep Maru as under control as possible economically, just contain him economically, and that is the win condition. Suddenly that no longer worked, and it became a true macro game where SHIN didn't really have a lot of upgrades coming through. The creep spread was basically non-existent, and it was a very low drone count.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing there was just the lack of map vision, like creep spread or like vision in general, being able to see that like, okay, there's a mech army coming out. Because I think SHIN definitely had the opportunity to just like rotate around, deal with that army before it gets to his 4th base, right? So he can actually like deal with it. But then once the army was already across, it was already too late, right? Actually getting to attack into the army.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with sort of. I mean, as we mentioned right at the time, we were discussing it during the game itself, how SHIN had zero map presence, zero map control, specifically no map awareness and no creep, right? There was no creep spread for SHIN whatsoever, just because he was on a low queen count. So without any creep, without any map vision, he couldn't really slow down the push once it moved out across the map to try to buy himself time to build up those ultras.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't so much you can actually do to punish it if the Terrans actually like tries to actively scout and so on. It kind of depends on what the follow-ups are, right? Like if he goes for something like a BC opener.
But otherwise, in the bottom left-hand corner we have SHIN. In the top right we have Maru.
But for the most part, it's just like a very safe and solid opener.
We have 2 players here, and again, SHIN honestly he had a really nice start last game, but as we mentioned, especially when you're up against mech, like if you cannot contain, if you cannot deny their 4th base, then they will break out, right? They'll break out, and that is something you have to be ready for. We're loading into Tokamak. Now, if Maru were to play mech again, I do like mech a lot more on Tokamak. I do think that it is easier on Tokamak to get a 4th and even get a 5th base up and running. It is difficult as a Zerg player to deny those bases. So if Maru were to play mech again, then that could excel. That would excel here on this map. Oh, but Maru's going for a 1-1-1.
Ling speed this time though, so a little bit different from last game.
No 3rd CC.
Yeah, last game was the layer before Ling speed. This time just going for
No 3rd CC.
Starting the layer,
Pointed
so
out. The observer knows. You can see the Mapu. He's like, guys, notice this.
Later on here before SHIN is
320 layer.
even with these queens moving quite forward, you would expect this.
Okay. So very quickly here, while the casters catch up, we do have a hyper aggressive build here by Maru going for the 1-1-1. I'm going for a very delayed 3rd CC with this extra Hellions, faster Banshee play. We could even go Viking into BC. Meanwhile, SHIN is going for a very fast lair. He did go Ling speed first, so he did go into Ling speed, but he went for, I want to say like a 315, 310 lair timing. With this, I'm feeling mutas, right? If we take more gases, right now 2 more gases are on the way, I'm feeling we could take another gas geyser and go into Lingbane muta or Ling muta, or we could even go into, I don't think we're set up for like a Nidus all-in, so it's going to be a Spire, right?
I would love to see some muta play coming in here by SHIN. On Maru's side of things, going into Cloak Banshee, as well as adding in 2 more barracks. Is the 3rd base getting spotted?
2 more axes.
Would love to try and find their way past those queens.
Maru staying on 2 bases. This looks like a 2-base all-in.
Yeah, you called it. We have a Spire coming down as well as a
there's that Spire that we did mention.
Best being Geyser here for Zerg.
Yeah, there's a very limited
Sounds like sort of also called it. That makes sense. He's a fellow Zerg player.
Any potential Hellion run-bys. Does a good job there. Banshee going in, this is probably like the best.
Now, this might just be a build order win for Maru. What's scary is that SHIN is going into mutas, which is very greedy. It does mean that you're going to be delaying your Eva chambers, delaying 1-1 upgrades, and delaying the strength of your Ling Bane. And Maru did not expand. There's no 3rd CC. He's going for an early stim timing with +1 with a hefty bio army, and he may just walk over SHIN. Like this may just be it.
This fast 3rd CC opener that he's been favoring recently. He's not playing that greedy. He's invested quite a bit in getting Banshees out as well as Cloak. It's only 1 engineering bay early as opposed to 2. I'm sure he'll add the 2nd one eventually, but for now the upgrades are later. The economic
the fact there's only 1 eBay is also a sign of a 2-base all-in. Just 1 upgrade, no 2. Basically, Maru has no intention to get into a longer game.
I'm wondering if that's going to be in position. It actually is. It's perfectly timed here, the natural.
Ah, the Banshee Scouts! No! Maru knows. He may even pull the boys with this.
Which is already giving some extra value out of this.
2 more axes, that's a 5 rack setup on 2 bases, so we have confirmation 2-base all-in at Maru.
This is going to be a very weird scenario where SHIN needs to identify that there is no 3rd CC, then he's actually getting 2-base all-in here.
Yep.
Because like that changes things a lot as the muta player, because this is a very weird scenario. You pretty much never play muta versus 2-base all-in. And what he kind of needs to do here is just...
well, we'll lock in. But yeah, sort of he identified it as well. But again, like this is a 2-base all-in at Maru. As a dimension.
The upcoming push. I think going double Evo here might be a little bit too much. You might have to do something like going single Evo, because right now...
And the problem here is that SHIN doesn't know. Like SHIN, he's seen nothing.
Maru is about to move out with a pretty massive army here in like 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, barracks number 4 and 5 are just finishing here for Maru. I'm half expecting even more to go down here in terms of production, but we'll eventually see. It still is just that 1 engineering bay. Not a lot of economic damage done, by those Mulisks, although Maru in the last breath of that Banshee was able to get 5 drone kills And for Shin, I'm a little bit concerned if he starts 1-1 right now. Already Carapace gets begun. Is he going to go for melee attack too?
He's starting up all the
Air
upgrades.
attack.
I think the air attack is okay because there's like this scenario where you potentially could snowball with the Mutas, right? And a scenario like this. But I think, yeah, skipping +1 melee attack I think is good enough because you know that Maru is going to try to attack into you. You don't really need your Zerglings to be good. You just need to have a healthy baning count on creep to actually stay alive, right? And the Mutas will continue to generate value for you.
He
starts
so
it.
3 upgrades now coming in for Shin versus the 2 bases here.
He's droning!
Liberator production
Now is not the time to drone, Shin!
The air as well as assisting the push later on.
I think he now realizes.
Like it's only these Mutas that are keeping Maru
he just saw the Raxes without add-ons. Now he knows.
He's gotten quite a few up there in the main base and the natural as well. I'm half expecting Maru to...
And Maru, he's ready to A-move. He's ready to just A-move across the map. Oh no! Tension, hold on!
Yeah, this is going to be like come down a lot to the first push. Like Maru wants to just secure a position near Shin's third, start clearing the creep, and then slow crawl forward with tanks and liberators, right? Like force Shin to attack into the...
No, they need to like
fireball.
up sort of mic.
That's kind of what Shin doesn't want to do. He just wants to stay on creep and...
like sort of, he has a lot to say. Like again, he's very understanding of the matchup. He's very understanding of the game state, more so than state. But his voice is a little bit more monotone, and his voice is just softer in general. So the production team has to bump him up, Bappy. Bump him up.
Maru's being really safe with these move outs, but with Mutalisk supporting here, that is going to prompt the SCV.
He actually has something to say.
Just a moment defensively, as now the siege tanks are starting to
take on the Banelings.
On the third base. Baneling speed is done. But does Shin want to go just yet? It looks like he's trying to set up a flank as well. Mutas and Lings in position there on the flanking side. A couple of Banelings coming
nice
in
kiting,
early.
very nice kiting by Maru.
Able to find the 2 That's a big win there for Shin, but losing Banelings on the front line might prove dangerous.
So many Banelings just went down.
Also coming here for Maru. Shin is going to try and intercept those.
Banelings, they're doing nothing. Oh my god, one connects.
Yeah, Shin just trying to buy time for the upgrades here, but he's losing a lot to do that, right?
Yeah, Maru, I think he's done it. How many Banelings are left, if any? Are there any Banelings remaining?
It's going to be very, very difficult to actually find the fight is looking for.
Get some connections, okay?
Flanks, connections, but decent. Oh no, every Muta nearly getting taken down. There are only 4 surviving.
Yeah, he's done it.
As this +1 timing from Maru has just gotten so much damage done already. The third hatchery is down.
He's so adverse calling it an all-in.
2 bases. Last reinforcements now coming in for Shin.
The timing attack by Maru Kobe was just 2 base all-in. GG gets called.
2 base push coming in from Maru. I think catches Shin a little bit off guard, and yet a good catch of Shin just trying to buy some time there for 1-1. And honestly, the micro was really good on the flanking side. He was able to pick off those liberators with the Mutas. He got a couple of reinforcement packs as well with the Mutas and Lings, but he bled off a lot of Banelings there on the third base. It was hard to manage both fronts without those upgrades being done just yet.
Yeah, like it's a very unique scenario as well. Like one going for 2 base Muta is not something we see super often, but also having 2 base Muta play into a 2 base all-in from the turn. It's not something you get to play super often, so it could be a bit of inexperience here from Shin dealing with it.
In theory, I'm curious, just because you're a Zerg pro gamer, how do you give the advantage in that one? If you're going for a 2-base build the way that Maru does, but it gets spotted kind of early, and then Shin is going for the 2-hatch Muta into your third
And if you
base,
notice the verbiage, it's very intentional.
So there isn't too much that's hidden on either side. Do you prefer the Terran's position in that sense, or do you prefer the Zerg's position?
So the Terran. But I don't know if you notice the verbiage there. Like State, he keeps calling it like a 2-ace push or 2-ace timing, like very tentatively, like he doesn't want to commit, but sort of keeps like emphasizing because he's correct. It's like all in because it was 2-ace all in. Sort of trying to assert that in their dynamic, but winding it back a little bit, I would almost call it a hard counter from Maru. When you go for 2-base Muta, you are cutting a lot of corners, your Ling Bane is weaker, and you are vulnerable, right? This is the downside of going into 2-base Muta, is your vulnerability getting into those Mutas. And ideally, in a standard game, your Mutas give you map control, they keep the Terran player busy, and they allow you to build up your economy and to build up your Ling Bane. Even though it's delayed, ideally, your Mutas give you time, right? They give you time. The reason why I call this hard counter is because Maru was going for a 2-base all-in, he was being hyper-aggressive to take advantage of that vulnerability. So I would say borderline like build order win there for Maru going for 2-base Muta. I say borderline build order win. It isn't just, you know, they picked their builds, they executed, and that was it. Another big portion of that was that, if you remember, Shin failed to scout. SHIN didn't realize it was a 2-base all-in until it was already pushing out across the map. That's why we were emphasizing like, oh, he's getting these upgrades, like, oh, he's droning up as well. Things that will not help because the game is not going to last that long. The game is not going to last long enough for the upgrades to finish and for the droning and for the economy to kick in, because Maru intends for the game to end early. So I would say that there was potential for SHIN to recover, to react, to respond, and to deal, and to survive that if he had seen it coming ahead of time. But if you remember, he didn't see it coming until it was already pushing out across the map. The realization of the all-in wasn't quite there until it was a little bit later. So with that, GG. With that, GG, well played. Maru, he does take a 2-0 lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 3. Looks like they're cutting to a 5-minute break, so we'll see you guys soon after the break to see if the series continues or if Maru does take the 3-0 here and now. We'll see you soon in 5 minutes. Back everyone, welcome back to the Jesus. Welcome back everyone, welcome back to the RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 3 Playoffs Day number 1 co-stream. We are more than halfway through the broadcast here. We're in the 3rd series, and we are here to find out how will this series conclude between Maru and SHIN. Maru's up 2-0, and we're going to be loading into Winter Madness here for game number 3. So far, we've had 2 very unique games. I will say game 1, we had Maru going into mech, maxing out, and then breaking SHIN across the map. SHIN did have a nice start against Maru in game 1, but as we mentioned, once Maru he was able to stabilize, able to turtle up on 4 bases, and then send it, and SHIN was unable to stop that from occurring. Meanwhile, game 2, SHIN went 2-base muta against a 2-base all-in. Against a 2-base all-in, Maru, he didn't even scout, by the way. He didn't even, I should say, he didn't even scout early enough to make the 2-base all-in a decision to reactively deal with the muta play. He scouted the mutas, but he was already going for an all-in. So Maru, he was able to shut SHIN down, and SHIN was able, he failed to scout the all-in that was coming his way, so SHIN was caught with his pants down, and now we're getting to game 3. Curious to see what kind of builds we go for this time, as every game so far has been unique. True.
The main base with the swarm host transition after that, after identifying the composition, was going to be mech and getting big damage done to the NAS.
Spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have SHIN for Weber Gaming. And in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player for Team Vitality. It is Maru. I gotta look, if they're not gonna intro, I gotta do it myself. Pull first. Okay.
2-base all-in coming in from Maru, just straight up 5 racks, not even an 8 racks with the 3rd CC. You don't see that every day, so we've had some interesting matches thus far, and both times SHIN has gotten the short end of the stick, but maybe this early game will be a little bit better for him. It's a CC first for Maru and a pool first for SHIN, but realistically, do you think that SHIN can actually get much damage done with these lings?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It seems like, oh, pool first, it should be really good versus CC first.
Nope.
But
Yeah.
the way the timings end up playing out is that it's really hard
CC
to
finishes.
get any value out of these links. And now you end up in a position where you've invested into these links, and versus a normal opener, you would like at least delay the command center, right? You would force the SCV off, or at least you would force the Reaper to stay back home or something, right? But in this scenario, like the command center is just going to be finished when he's getting across the map, and he won't really be able to find any real damage unless Maru gets caught off guard with an SCV or a Marine or something.
This is one of the things about
as sort of is saying, like, this is a better opener for Maru. So winding it back, what's occurring here? Maru's going CC first, and the Zerg player SHIN is going pool first. What this means is that because it's a CC first, the command center for Maru will finish. It will finish before the lings arrive or as they arrive. Whereas if Maru went for a standard opener, then these lings from SHIN could have delayed the CC. So here, the lings, they arrive too late. Basically, they arrive too late. Maru, he should be able to minimize losses and be set up here in a nice position. Meanwhile, SHIN is going to be set behind, going for a late gas geyser. As you can see here, the CC is already complete.
There's only the one depot there just now. Of course, Maru with that CC finishing doesn't need to throw down on 2nd depot just yet. It's actually going to be a 3 CC.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's where those minerals went.
It's crazy.
How much can you get done with these 6 lings?
Yeah, the fact that there's no wall here kind of makes it so there's some more potential.
Yeah.
So
100%.
With the micro, how many
Gets
you
one.
can actually get here, which is probably like a lot more than you would actually expect to get in this
Yeah.
situation. So
Okay.
I'm kind of happy with this.
Yeah, actually, the
Gets 2,
SCV
denies
micro,
mining.
Not perfect thus far here by Maru. Could pull off some of these really injured SCVs, but instead SHIN just with really good
3?
link control.
Nah, not
okay,
quite.
that was good by Maru. Able to save that one in the red. Yeah, SHIN with good link control, getting 2 SCVs in terms of damage. So pretty good thus far, especially because back at home he's going to feel completely
And he gets a full
safe
scout.
to macro up behind this. But
So a couple of things here. So again, as he pointed out, because Maru didn't just go CC first, he went 3 CC before factory, by the way, which means there was no wall. There was no depot at that ramp. So those Lings got more damage than they should have. So initially what looked to be a bad opener for Shin worked out better because he was able to get 2 SCVs and deny mining and get a full scout, confirming the 3rd CC. So Shin, he knows how greedy Maru is being right now. Again, hype. You see Maru going to double eBay as well before the starport. Hyper greed out of Maru, fast 3rd CC, fast double eBay as well. This looks like the beginning of an ARAX, to be honest. Like this, we've seen a lot of ARAXs from this kind of position because there's so much greed. The ARAX typically hits with 2-2. So really fast 1-1, really fast 2-2, really strong and powerful ARAX. Meanwhile, Shin, because he went for a late gas, he's going into roaches.
Did exactly this. The really fast 3 command centers, the really fast double eBays, they greed checked him. And Maru was on death's door for what felt like 5, 6, 7 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time, but in Legacy of the Void or in StarCraft 2 in general, it is a really long time.
Yeah.
But he was able to survive to 3-3 on like 2 bases, maybe 2.5 bases. Like he takes a 3rd, he has to lift it back up.
Yeah.
And he was able to carry that 3-3 versus, I think, 1-1 upgrades on Zerg to a victory because those Marines started to melt the roaches. And I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
this game is starting to trend in the same direction. We have 39 drones.
Shin, he's killing workers. He's going for the all-in.
Here for Maru, but
Shin, he's committing.
There's already a bunker throwing down.
This is it. It's all or nothing with Shin. And Maru, he now realizes.
He sees the lack of drones in the 3rd. He also sees the lack of queens. So he knows like this money has to have gone into something, right? And with the roach war, the only thing that makes sense is that it went into roaches. So he is preparing for this as well as he can. That being said, though, like you don't have anything like a Banshee or even a high tank count that would actually like.
Again, because of the hyper greed of Maru, as they're pointing out, low tanks, no Banshees, we have Hellion Marine. Right now, Maru is insanely vulnerable to the all-in of Shin, and Shin is here to punish. And Shin should have enough. We'll see if Maru can pull off a crazy defense.
Pretty aggressively. There aren't Banelings added into the mix. It is pure Roachling, and yeah, SCVs, they're not very good against that composition, but with 3 CCs, you can replenish them fast enough. That as long as you stay alive with these upgrades coming in,
here come more Lings
coming online, you should be all right here as Terran. But the pressure already mounting. The supply depots getting taken out. We might have to see some drops in terms of supply come in here on these command centers as Maru is now supply blocked in. Here goes Shin.
Yeah, just make it or break it. And 1-1 is actually going to finish.
Shin, can he get on top of the tank? He tries to. The Hellions are in position. The Lings are being shut down. The tank should barely fall.
This might just be a little bit too much. Oh man, that bunker's so low on HP.
The Wiles.
Repair is so busted. Look at that.
Oh my god.
The bunker survives. If that bunker went down, I honestly think Maru might be dead. Instead, there's more Lings streaming in, and Maru, he gets a second chance.
Shin is droning.
The siege tank, it is creeping back down here into the natural expansion, trying to find a safe nook and cranny right behind those bunkers, right out of range of the Ravagers. Should they move forward to Bile, they have to eat some shots from that bunker to actually get damage in. And already Shin is pivoting. He's adding 2 evolution chambers. He's droning up again. He's going for a lair. I really think that bunker staying alive just changed the fate of this game because Maru now can start 2-2. 1-1 hasn't even, it just began.
So, winding it back here, Shin was all in. Shin was all in. That had to end the game. If he failed to end the game, he had to do crippling damage. As you can see, Maru, he's still in 2-base saturation. He's fine. Like, Maru, he is perfectly fine here. As we mentioned before, the 2-2 timing is going to be very strong. It's going to hit hard for Maru. But because he was stuck on 2 bases and because he had to invest into all the depots, into the bunkers, into this defensive play, it means that Shin at least has a little bit of breathing room, but the upgrades are going to be heavily in favor of Maru, where he now was talking about a 2-2 timing, and now we can go for a 3-3 timing instead, stabilizing and setting up on 3 bases before moving out. Shin, the quality of the army is going to be lessened. It's going to be quite weak, and the pressure is on Shin to trade early on and to contain Maru.
So we'll see what happens here. Shin, economically, of course, and like position-wise, he's doing fine. Since Maru's 3rd is not even landed yet, even though he has a healthy SCV count. The big thing here is just the upgrades. So we see if Shin can survive this 2-2 timing without, taking too much damage or taking a bad fight, he can definitely end up in a good position towards the late game.
Yeah, the infestation pit's also coming online very quickly here for Shin.
Yeah, it should be Hive, should be Ultras.
We'll have that Hive coming to fruition quite rapidly, although it could also just be for infestors, as you said, that would pair really well with the roaches and ravagers that Shin's got already on the board. We'll have to wait and see what the decision is going to be here.
Yeah, gets a couple of safety infestors.
2 infestors in production, more roaches and ravagers as well. As Shin is continuing to drone up, and I feel like Shin, maybe in a minute or so, is possibly going to be looking for a fight. I know that Maru has 2-2.
Yeah, you just have the
But this is a
numbers
big power
So
spike for
SHIN, he's
isn't it?
building up into a big attack at the third base. As you can see, SHIN, he does start the lair. As you mentioned, typically seeing a lair alongside Roach play leads into melee upgrades and leads into Ultra Tech. That is kind of the go-to for SHIN. Yep, you can see Baliness is on the way. That's indicative that he wants to switch into melee upgrades for those Ultras.
That being said, +3 coming in, 4th command center is already done, I believe.
Yep, there's the melee upgrade, as we did mention.
Also just looking to macro up here.
Yeah, 4th command center getting started right now for Maru. His +3 infantry weapons already begun.
So SHIN's big power
right
spike.
At the same time as +2 armor here.
SHIN's big power spike is going to be Ultras. Meanwhile, Maru's big power spike is going to be 3-3. And we'll see whether or not he goes into Ghost.
For the Zerg, but in this case, SHIN actually with a very fast hive, he won't have that same barrier to entry of just having to survive here on the lair. He was able to get enough damage done with the initial push at the natural expansion of Maru that he can afford to go for this. Nice.
Teasing
nice
connection.
fumble. He is able to catch a couple of these Marines. I mean, anything you can get is big. Almost even fungling and then biling down one of those medevacs would have been a sick play.
Spore popping off.
Gets to clean up the first one, gets to chase this one away. I think so far this is looking okay.
Yeah.
Like for SHIN. Maru
SHIN's
is
keeping up.
very well into late game. 5th command center coming in, 3-3 is getting halfway done. The one big problem I see for SHIN in this scenario is that he does not have really good creep spread. And on this map, that can become a huge issue because as you look at on this map, the first 5 bases are kind of easy to take, but then like the 6th and the 7th base are all like quite far away from everything else. So you actually need a fair bit of map control to actually like progress in towards the later stages to have a good economy.
Yeah, that's going to be concerning here for SHIN, especially if he wants to take this high.
Yeah, this is our big concern about Winter Madness. I do think that it's easier for the Terran player to take a 5th and to take a 6th expansion on this map as they expand with their army towards the Zerg. But as I mentioned, without a good creep spread, it's going to be very difficult for SHIN to build up in towards the late game. Meanwhile, there's the Ultra Captain, as we did mention. Again, it's very common to go from Roach into Ultra Tech, and he's getting there. Here come the first wave of Ultras, and we'll see if SHIN can hold his own.
14 Marauders in total. That is a large amount here at only 10 minutes, considering the way this early game went. And by the way, 2-2 upgrades
Jesus.
really good. That looked like it was going to be SHIN
my
forcing
God.
a pickup there for Maru, but Maru stands firm, and his bio cleans up all of those lings.
Yeah, especially before Adrenal. But even with Adrenal, it's still not great when it's down a full upgrade set. But in this case, he's catching up in the upgrades now, so the future fights, even if he gets 3-3, should still be a little better.
Yeah, Maru continuing to levy pressure down here in the bottom left. This is the point of weakness here in terms of creep spread. Infestors getting close. Oh no, Infestors, they might have actually just gotten picked off. I don't think they even got a fungal off.
Yeah.
Only one
One fungal, two Infestors go down.
To follow through with the kills. Now the Ultras.
Yo, we got the 1-2 Ultras.
Here, but Maru could easily just pick
Maru
up
not paying
every
attention.
treat, or he could just continue to micro like this. SHIN's multitasking, really getting taxed. He's going to lose a hatchery.
Yeah, the problem also with losing these Infestors is you really want those Infestors with your Ultras, right? Because if you don't have Infestors...
And he still doesn't have kindness plating.
Fighting an army off creep is if you get like a complete like flank out or something like that, right? Otherwise, the stemmed bio just kites you forever.
And you can see just the lack of creep really kicking in here. I believe this is the only active tumor, right? The only active tumor is in the center. Maru's pushing in the center as well. Ghost Academy has begun. He's now fully aware of the Ultras, building up more Marauders, and Maru has momentum. He has momentum, he has the upgrades, and SHIN, he is in trouble.
Just scaling into the game and keep finding good trades and keep limiting SHIN's progression onto the map, right? Like SHIN is just getting stuck on these like 4, namely almost 5 bases, but he needs kind of a bit more than that to actually keep up with the cost efficiency of this Terran army.
Oh, another hatchery getting picked off right here. I don't know if we have any Infestors in the mix. Doesn't look like we do, so Bio able to actually boost all the way towards the third base, or potentially the main base here on Winter Madness, as Maru simultaneously was able to deny the re-expansion there on the left side. Bio now dropping here into the main base. SHIN going for a big counterattack, judging by the minimap. Infestation pit goes down. There are no Infestors on the map. This planetary fortress is just Ultras going for it, but that's not enough SCVs to repair, so it will get taken down. But Maru, he's been able to snipe so many bases. Even the Hive is under threat right now against +3 Bio. Oh man, SHIN, you gotta keep that alive.
Yeah, it's a situation now where like he kills the 5th base, but Maru just instantly retakes it.
Yeah, he's just pushing in. He's just pulling SHIN apart. There's 3 attacks here. There's one in the main base. There's one here at the natural, which is trading well without any banelings, and we have reinforcements hitting towards the right-hand side as well.
Or on Maru.
Shin, he just can't keep up. He just doesn't have the army to
Maru's
keep
just
up.
looking so good right now.
Yeah.
1,000 minerals still in the bank. He's continuing to macro up. This base might get denied again here at the 3 o'clock expansion. Another drop simultaneously into the third base. The natural expansion also under siege. Maru is everywhere right now, and Shin, he's struggling to put out all of these fires. I mean, the trades aren't the best here for Maru, but the important thing is that Shin is so flustered, he can't get any pressure done. You can see the cost efficiency there in the top left.
Yeah.
6,000 resources in the advantage of Maru.
Which is not something you would expect at this stage of the game. That's something you would look at, like, okay, once there's like ghosts and liberators out, okay, then, then that makes more sense. But it's just like
The
bio
target,
trading into
the micro,
things
let's
and
go.
just
The
getting
target firing.
approaches and randomly, right? So it's
Maru,
very
he's having
efficient.
fun. He's having fun,
Right,
but
as it is right now, his
gets another
economy is
ultra.
not that good.
Yeah, and the creep spread is just dismal. It already wasn't in a good place, but Maru's done such a good job of keeping the creep spread under control up until this point. We actually have 2 tubers that are just isolated in the center of the map.
Well, I would say it's a combination of Maru keeping the creep spread under control, but also Shin, even during the lull periods, he was not really actively spreading creep either. So like it goes both ways. It feels like this series, Shin hasn't really been focusing too much on queen production and on creep spread, has been hurting him in the long run.
Defensively, as a Widow Mine
It is
drop, the natural
an
expansion
aspect
is
that's
going
been
to force
lacking
those
for
first
Shin
to
the
that
entire
grade 3
series.
also get taken down. And the anti-air, again, it's just a big problem here for Shin. He has to commit to having enough army to deal with the bio forces that Maru has on the ground, but then Maru just has free reign in the air to drop absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, I think a big problem for Shin was just that after the all-in, he was, when you go for this all-in, you go with a low queen count, right?
Yep.
And then after the all-in transition into a macro game, he never really replenished his queen counts. He wasn't really able to have enough
Yeah,
queens
I
to
would
actually
agree.
keep pushing tumors out, which kind of leads into this scenario where you slowly just get starved out unless you're able to find amazing fights.
I was thinking the same thing as I was just talking about how like the low creep spread and low queen count has been permeating throughout the entire series. Specifically thinking about game 1 and game 3, GG gets called. Maru does take the series 3-0. But quickly finishing up on that thought, if you remember specifically in regards to both game 1 and game 3, Shin went for all-ins. He went for roach-based all-ins in both games, and in both games he failed to kill, and in both games they continued on into a longer game state. And Shin, he never built up a queen count to actually maintain map control and spread any creep. That's applicable to both the first and this third game as well. But GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Maru as does claim the series, does advance on into the next round, and very impressive play here. Very impressive play. This does put further into context, I think, what Macrocosm said previously. Where it says here, Maru was very greedy and unpredictable. Kind of. I think I would push back against that statement. It sounds like hearing what State and sort of were talking about, it looks like they were making reference to one of Maru's games against Raynor, where Maru did go for this same build that we just saw in Winter Madness. So very quickly talking on Maru, and I feel like it's really important. I'm really excited now for Maru. Is that Maru, I would say, was very stiff throughout the entire year. Very stiff, very predictable. I would say that about every game that he played in GSL. I would say that even about Maru's run in DreamHack Dallas and in Maru's run in EWC. Something about the meta, something about his playstyle, something about Maru's approach, but I will say he was very predictable throughout the entirety of 2025. But something that's really important is 1, the latest patch, 2, the latest map pool as well, has been forcing some shifts in the meta. We spoke about this earlier, but 8 Raxes were permeating, and mech, battle mech, like Maru, throughout the entirety of the year, he was playing so much mech and so much ARAX throughout the entirety of the year. But ARAXs are weaker now because of the buff to the Baneling, and mech is weaker now as well, or at least battle mech is weaker because of the nerf to the Cyclone. If you remember, we spoke about this at the start of the series, and I was really curious to see how Maru would adjust and how he would adapt when both of his popular styles were being nerfed coming into this season, coming into the new era of StarCraft. I was really, really curious, and I'm very pleased to see that we have a lot of variety out of Maru. Like that's what's most exciting to me about Maru's play now. That's what was the least exciting about his play throughout the entire year, is that he was playing like 1 or 2 styles and nothing but that. But here in this series, and I would imagine this is echoed in his Raynor series as well, what did we see? We saw traditional mech, right? Hellion into tank of a 2x Marine opener. We saw a greedier build here going 3 ECC, double eBay, what is meant to lead into an 8 racks, but because of the failed all-in led into like these really strong 2-2 and 3-3 timings, and in game 2 we saw 2 base all-in as well. So we saw a lot of really nice variety here, and a lot of it, and what I should say is that it isn't just nice variety, but it all made sense. Like, it all made sense given the map, given the style, given the build, and also given what SHIN was up to as well. So it was really cool to see that variety out of Maru. I would say that this is something that's been missing from Maru's play for quite some time, actually, for quite some time. So this feels really refreshing, is what I will say. It feels really refreshing, feels really exciting. It makes me look forward to seeing more of Maru coming into the rest of the season. I should emphasize that that's typically why I've been less excited about Maru's play, because of how he's been playing just for the majority of the year. But that now, at least in this matchup, has been changing. I will say that his style was very predictable, and this is applicable to TVP as well. Previously, we saw a lot of mech against Protoss, and we saw a lot of 2 base all-ins against Protoss. That is what he would do non-stop. But also, I was talking about how we've seen some shifts in the meta. 2 base all-ins are also weaker in TVP now, and also battle mech is weaker in TVP as well. So once again, just like in this matchup, I'm excited to see how Maru plays against Protoss, and likewise how he is adjusting his style and how he's going to reapproach that matchup as well, as that also has been impacted by the latest patch and by the latest map pool. So that's like what I'm most excited by, and yeah, this makes me excited once again for after quite some time to watch some Maru play. So GG well played, very impressive play there by Maru. Congratulations, let's take down SHIN 3-0, and up next we're going to be getting into Max Packs versus Trigger, the final best of 5 of the night. Let's go, let us go. Oh, dzień dobry, papi, dzień dobry. Siema, papi, siema. But yes, we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll have the final series. We'll see you soon for that PvP. See you soon, papi. See you soon.